What's up, guys? How's it going? I'm back with another video. This time I wanted to just respond to the Japanese game developer Roundtable. There was a lot of good information there, some pretty good reveals. I'm actually excited for Guilty Gear Strive now. I actually want to play it because of the new character. Forgot his name. What was his name? I forgot his name. Anyway, the trailer 5, the new guy, the samurai vampire guy. Like, I really want to play that character. So I will definitely be buying that game. They won me over. But they did talk about a lot of interesting things. If you haven't seen the translated version, or anyone who did like a recap translation on it, I'll leave a link in the description. But some things that they talked about that really caught my eye were like, mostly like, one topic was about simplifying the game, and Arc System Works was talking about how with Guilty Gear Strive they are trying to change the game, make it appealing to new players, but also keep bringing back older players. And one thing that they talked about was trying to close the gap between those beginner players and those experienced players. And that was one thing that kind of struck me. It kind of hit a soft spot, because when Blaze Blue first came out, I remember I was at Anime Expo, and I entered the tournament. They were having kind of like setups where you could play the game for a little bit. My friends had told me about it because I freaking thought it was awesome. And I remembered I played it a little bit in the arcade before it was being released on console at Family Fun Arcade in Northridge. But that was that was at arcade. This is on console. I was like, let me try it out. I'm at their panel, and if you did the trial play, you got like some free stuff, and it was pretty cool. Like, I was really falling in love with the game. I really liked Ragna, and I didn't really get a chance to learn the game, I guess you could say. It wasn't like you really had that much time. It was like you had like 5 minutes to just play the game and get an idea of it, and then step away from the console that they had. They had PS4s, they had Xboxes, but they were having this tournament. It was like a beginner tournament, just to like get people excited about the game and get people interested at the game. And I entered the tournament and I won my first round. First round was a mirror match, me against another guy who was playing Ragna. We both pretty much figured out the same controls, so it wasn't like we were doing anything complicated or exciting. We weren't going for like big combos, because we only played for 5 minutes. So I beat him because I kind of figured out what he was doing, and I just countered what he was doing. I just played defense and just attacked, punished. And then round two is what sets me off, because round 2 I was playing against, and this is the reason why I hate this character, I was playing against Hakumen, and the guy who was playing Hakumen was a beta tester who worked for Arc System Works. Now, normally you would think, why is he even allowed to be in the tournament? This is like for people who were there at Anime Expo. Why would a beta tester be allowed to play? So he was like, whatever, I'll play. He's just like casual, all casual about it. And everyone who knew who he was literally was like, hey man, that's not fair. That's not fair. You can't play. And he was like, no, let me see what the guy has. And they had an announcer there and everything. And even the announcer for this small Anime Expo tournament was like, hey, that's cheating. This doesn't even count. We should just disqualify you. And so like he made it a big deal, and so he got to stay. And if he's watching this video, you know who you are. I doubt he is. I doubt he'll see this video, but I hate Hakumen because of that guy. I really do. I hate Hakumen so bad. He picked Hakumen on purpose. He could have picked any other character, but he specifically picked Hakumen because he had played with Hakumen so much during their in-house testing and their in-house beta testing that he was the best Hakumen player at that time. And he was like, no, I want to test this guy and see what he can do. So at first he kind of just tested me, and he got the first win. I was like, okay. And then the second round, he was just like, okay, Yeah, you can't keep up with me. And he just goes all out to the point where I can't even defend myself because I don't know the game. I don't know the mechanics. I didn't know that there was like a burst where you could push people off of you. I didn't know if there were any like, Street Fighter Alpha counters or anything like that, or reversals. I don't know that. I only got to play the game for 5 minutes. This guy's been playing this game for like months. And that's what kind of brought up that fiery passion, which is something that I think is a problem for fighting games. I don't want to say simplify it to where the easy button mode is just the way to go for people who don't know how to play the game. But something like they were saying in the conference was like, make it so that the game is easy to pick up based on what you see of the game. Like if you played the game, or any fighting game, like you would kind of know certain things, and it's kind of hard to pick up on what type of way to play the game if you've never seen it before. But if you've seen it for like a couple minutes, you should be able to go, okay, I think I can tell how to play this game. But when you're going up against a pro, you don't have that hidden factor. You don't have that surprise factor. You don't have that experience to turn the tables in your favor. Like if you're just picking up the game for the first time and you're playing against someone who's been playing the game since they were like 13 years old, obviously the person who's been playing since they were 13 years old is going to know everything about the game, and you're going to know nothing, and you're just going to get your butt handed to you. But there's got to be a better way to kind of close that gap, to make it so that it's somewhat easy to figure things out on the fly. Of course, with extended training and videos and guides and tutorials and stuff, that will help. But just in the moment, that's where fighting games, I say, has their most negative point, is just, I'm not going to enter a Street Fighter tournament and my first round is against Daigo and I'm gonna expect to beat him. Like that's not gonna happen. I don't have the years. We'll say I don't have the years and I don't have the experience to keep up with someone of his caliber. So, where am I going to catch him off guard? I'm gonna play sloppy. His play is tight. He's gonna know how to punish. He's gonna know the matchup. And that's, like I said, that's something that fighting games, it's a bad thing. Like, it definitely left a bad taste in my mouth after I lost to that beta tester of Hakumen. I do love BlazBlue. I really do. It's one of my favorite fighting games, and I say that a lot. But, like, that was just a really bad experience from Arc System Works with me. And I've never liked their games before BlazBlue. So, for that to finally have a game that I like by them, and then for one of their employees to make a bad impression, just really kind of set me off. And that's just, I don't know, it's just one of the things that I thought about as I was watching the Roundtable. But there were a lot of good things that they brought up. I know they dodged rollback netcode, and Ed Boon brought it up, which was funny. And he wasn't even in the conference. But I don't know, it's kind of hard. Like, some of the things they brought up, like how they all create their characters and stuff, and the difference between popular characters and most used characters. I thought that was really interesting, especially for like Arc System Works, how they start off with a number. They start off with how many characters they want to be in the game first. Then they decipher between style, between moves list and play style, stuff like that. So it was like, that's really cool to know about how they do this. And that's why I said before in another video, I hope they keep doing this. I hope they do this maybe semi-annually, twice a year, maybe every year. They should just do this for themselves. And I don't think it should just be limited to Japan. There should be like a big fighting game conference for all the devs and representatives to talk about things and for people to ask questions. Of course, a lot of people want to know about rollback netcode, but for the people who don't care about rollback netcode being in every game, the people who don't play online, the casuals, or the people who just enjoy the game, I think, being able to ask them questions, especially like, like being able to ask them about like, you know, character rosters and versions of games and stuff like that. Like I would have loved to have been able to ask like Capcom, why don't they have a big Capcom game? Like they were talking about how big their roster is and how old their characters are and character selection. But why don't they have a game where it's just all of them, like just every Street Fighter character in one game, or just all Capcom characters in one game, you know? Or how come characters can't make crossovers into Street Fighter like they can with other characters? You know, they'll do like skins, you know, they'll do costumes of other games, like Ken in Street Fighter 5 has Dante's costume, and you know, they have like Darkstalker's costumes and Monster Hunter costumes, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but how come none of these characters ever cross over? Like, are their worlds not connected? You know, like are they in separate universes or something? That's what I've always wondered about. Like that's something I would like to ask them, you know, like get their opinion on. But yeah, like I don't know, like just I'm excited about a couple of things. I'm excited for the new Guilty Gear character. I really want to play Guilty Gear Strive now, which is saying something. And then like hearing their opinions on a lot of things was very eye-opening. You know, of course, like I said, they kind of glazed over, or dodged, if you will, rollback netcode. But you know, for them in their area, rollback netcode isn't really a big thing. In Japan, their local servers are just fine. It's only when you go out of Japan that you really have a problem. And then what was it? There was something else. Tekken, Tekken, or more than half of Tekken players are playing through Wi-Fi. That's scary. That's really scary. Like, no wonder there are so many bad connections. It makes me wonder if the connections are the problems of the people using Wi-Fi, or if it's a mixture of the Wi-Fi and the game netcode. Like that, it would, like I said, if you haven't seen it, watch it. There's a bunch of information in there, but yeah, they did talk about some things, but you know, I would like to see them talk about more. Really get into like building a game, you know, and what their thought process is of making the mechanics, you know, or going into moves or styles, or where they pull their influences from, etc., etc. I really like to know like the behind the scenes of games really more for them on the Japanese side, because you know, they don't really have a large budget, and not every studio, you know, can spend years working on a game. You know, they have tight schedules. They don't really have a lot of money like American studios do, and even certain American studios don't have a lot of money either. But I would like to know more about the behind the scenes of Japanese fighting game studios, and you know, how they come up with stuff and how they deal with deadlines, how they deal with extra content, you know, like where moves didn't make it into the game. That would be interesting for me, because Street Fighter 4 had in the Ultimate Street Fighter 4 version, they had the Omega versions of characters where they had moves that weren't used in the final version of the game, or they had the original design of characters and what the character was supposed to be like and how many special moves they were supposed to have. You can't use those characters online, which is sad, because honestly, I really love those original concepts of the characters. I prefer those characters over the ones that were released on, you know, for mainstream. But I would like to know like more about those characters. Like, why was this move removed? What was the process of giving this character this move, or this special, or this super that's no longer in the game? You know, the concept behind the designs of the costumes and stuff, and you know, just stuff like that. Just more behind the scenes. You know, like, yeah, behind the scenes. I mean, that's pretty much it's pretty much the easiest way to say it. But yeah, that's it for me. I just wanted to respond a little bit to watching it, because I definitely enjoyed watching it. I watched it about 3 times now, just to get in as much information as I can from what they were talking about, and based on the different people who translated it and did like recaps and stuff like that. But I definitely think they need to do another one. They need to definitely do another one. They need to do their own just Japanese fighting game community, releases like this. Like, release information. You can release updates and previews and stuff, but like, get behind the scenes of things, answer questions, talk about like the popularity of characters versus how many characters are being played. And like, one thing I really would like to know from Capcom is, why are there so many clones of the same characters? I mean, like, you got like Ken, Ryu, Akuma, Shenlong, Sakura, Dan, Sagat, Evil Ryu, Evil Sakura, who rarely shows up in games, Sean. That's already 10 clones, who pretty much all do the same things. And there's a couple more too, but that's already 10 characters that pretty much all do the same thing. And when they show up in games, it's like, okay, they all do the same thing. So, why do they always have to be in the same game? Just like for Street Fighter 5, like, on one hand, I'm sick of seeing the clones. I think there's like 7 Ryu clones, Ken Ryu clones. But if they add in Dan, I would be happy, because I like Dan. Dan's awesome. But at the same time, Dan's a clone. So it's like, I mean, technically Dan is already in the game as Kage, but we're not going to get into that discussion. But but man, like, I don't know. I would like, there are things I would like to ask them. Like, I'd like to ask Arc System Works, like, why is Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear so similar but so different? I would love to ask them that. Like, why is it that me personally, I like Blaze Blue over Guilty Gear? Like, what is keeping me from getting into Guilty Gear, but it's so easy for me to get into Blaze Blue? And I know it's not based off of character design. There's got to be something mechanically there, or maybe it's the controls. I don't know, but like, I would love to ask those types of questions, like, what is the similarity and what is the difference amongst games that they develop? And like, for SNK, like, they have such an extensive roster. What is the story? Like, how does the story actually work? Is it cohesive? Is it one giant universe? Like, they get a lot of characters that cross over sometimes. Like, you'll see like Samurai Showdown characters mixed in with, Fatal Fury characters or King of Fighter characters, and like, are they one universe? But what's their time frame? Because like, weren't the Samurai Showdown characters like in the Warring States era of Japan? And isn't like it's like, where's the time jump in between? I don't know. Anyway, like I said, there's a lot of things I would love for them to answer and for them to talk about. And just like the history of stuff too, and like where they want to go in the future with things. But yeah, that's it. That's all I really have to say. Like, I still want my rematch against that Hakumen beta tester from Anime Expo. If I ever see him, I definitely want a rematch, because I still feel cheated out of that tournament. But that's it from me. Man, that was a good conference though. That was a good roundtable. I definitely hope we get another one in the near future. But all right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have fun, and I'll see you guys out there on the battlefield. Peace.